What's up, y'all? Paul Rosa here, late night from the campus of Ball So Hard University. This particular classroom I've set up shop in also happens to double as my living room. As you can see, we have a few nice paintings on the wall. George O'Keeffe there. Neither is original. A couple photos of me from back in the old hardwood days, and then, of course, a stocking in case Santa decides he wants to make an impromptu mid-year visit. I've been pretty good so far, so keeping our fingers crossed on that one. Back for another NBA Finals video recap. First one of these that is not at my dad's house, so we're breaking some new ground. My phone just gave me an update. It's at 10% battery, and I don't want to have to get up to find a charger, so let's get started. Do you like blowout victories and overreacting to them? Because if so, the 2016 postseason might just be the one for you. In the broadcast in tonight's game, ESPN put up the graphic that there have been 19 teams so far in the playoffs that have been blown out by at least 20 points. The most ever in a postseason by a lot. 8 more than the second most. We still have 4 games to go. And tonight was no different. Cleveland 120, Warriors 90, an absolute trouncing. Cavaliers were ahead from the opening tip to the final whistle. And I mean, when you leave the game, I think there's a few things that are pretty obvious. One, Steph Curry's injured again. 2, Kyrie Irving is good again. 3, Kevin Love still sucks. And 4, Cavaliers are about to win 4 in a row and snap this drought in Cleveland. And I think that pretty much does it for me. That's about all the analysis I can give tonight. Just kidding. I'm going to try not to overreact too much to tonight's game. Obviously, a really impressive performance by Cleveland. Started out hot, and Golden State never could recover. But I think if you were going to pick a game where this was going to happen, this is the game that you would pick. After getting blown out by 48 points in both the first 2 games, I think there was no doubt that there was going to be more of a sense of urgency with the Cavaliers. You're going to be playing with a lot more energy. And then there was a couple things from Cleveland's perspective that I think were always going to skew back in their favor a little bit. They were 12 for 44 from 3 in the first 2 games. LeBron was historically bad, while the Warriors' bench was uncharacteristically efficient. All those things sort of came back to earth tonight to play into the loss for Golden State. The Cavaliers shot 12 of 25 from 3. LeBron back to his usual self, 32 points, above 50% shooting for the first time in this series. And then the Warriors bench was, not bad, but also not at the dominant levels that it was in the first 2 games. Though it's still really good minutes from Iguodala. I've been absolutely in love with his impact on the series. But if there's one thing, I guess, that's a takeaway, it's I talked about this in last game's video reaction. I thought Kevin Love was going to be a blessing in disguise if he didn't play, and that certainly showed tonight. 1 game sample size, so who knows if it's going to hold? But LeBron playing at the 4 with Richard Jefferson in the starting lineup seemed to make a lot of headway for Cleveland as far as maybe getting back competitive in the series. Those LeBron at the 4 lineups have not been good in the first 2 games, but they changed it up a little bit defensively. They switched a lot more. And with the extra speed of LeBron and Jefferson in the starting lineup as opposed to Love and LeBron, the Cavaliers were able to defend the backside of Golden State's defense better. I think in both the first 2 games, they've done a pretty reasonable job at limiting Curry and Thompson. I talked about how how Thompson and Curry had both gotten pretty good shots in the series, but they've had to work really hard to get them. Tonight, those shots for Thompson completely dried up. He was blanketed throughout. Curry still got some open looks. He wasn't particularly good. I think they didn't have to make him work incredibly hard off the ball to get those looks, harder than maybe he had to in the opening two games. But in shutting them down, Cleveland didn't give up the backside where Draymond was able to burn him in game two, and Varejao and Iguodala and Barbosa have all been able to flourish. Those holes weren't there tonight. LeBron did a marvelous job on Green, held him to 2 or 8 from the floor. He did end with 7 assists, but there was the one play where he had seemingly a wide open layup with LeBron come behind him, and he tried to do a little up and under dipsy-do thing, and LeBron blocked it. And thought that was sort of characteristic of how the night was from Cleveland's perspective. The energy that they might not have had in the first couple games was back with full force, and their ability to move on defense was really notable, I thought. But still, I guess when you're looking at this game, does it actually change anything about how you think the series is going? For me, no. I've thought throughout that the matchup was in pretty much all ways in Golden State's favor. And even if, if Love can still, or if they can still, Cleveland can still be good without Love, I just don't know if that in itself is going to be enough. Curry and Thompson are not going to be this bad every game. Golden State, there's a reason they won 73 games, and then there's a reason that the Cavaliers only won 57 in the East, and I think that it's going to show over the next 2 games. That being said, if you're a Cavs fan, this game went just about as well as it could have. J.R. Smith got his way out of his funk, 5 for 10 from 3, and finally seemed energized to try to look for his own shot. For the second game in a row, the Cleveland's used him a lot in pick and rolls, especially to initiate the offense instead of Irving. I thought that worked out really well for Irving today. He focused a lot on scoring and got super hot early as part of that big run. But for me, this has always felt sort of like what Golden State's done all year. There's not a lot of things you can do to nitpick when you're 73-9. But if there's one thing, it's that they've had a tendency to get complacent when they've had things come too easily for them. They tend to toe the line a little bit with their free-flowingness from time to time. What creates the beautifulness and effectiveness of their offense when they get a little lackadaisical can suddenly bring the same thing that takes them down. And you saw the bad side of that tonight. Curry with the 6 turnovers. I thought Cleveland did a pretty good job at hanging out in his passing lanes, and he just wasn't sharp enough on those. Turnovers in general were bad from the Warriors. They're at 18. It's something that's plagued them or been a problem for them for most of the season when things haven't gone well. And then 3-point shooting, they were 9 for 33, below 30%. And when the team you're playing goes 12 for 25, you're not going to win that game. But again, I don't know what it really does. The sample size is just too small from the Cavs' perspective. We've seen Golden State play too many good games against them in a row. I was kind of always expecting Cleveland to get a game. I maybe didn't expect them to win by 30, but it wasn't, I don't think, a huge outlier to think that they were going to win a game by a huge margin, and that's what happened tonight. But I don't know. I don't really have anything more to say about this. We're gonna have to see what happens in Game 4 before you can make any real judgment, and that's I think where where the series is going to lie. Clearly, if Cleveland can come back and get that one, all of a sudden, it's anyone's game. Golden State wins by 20. This game 3, ceases to matter. Till next time, it's late, tired, and I am out of things to say. Signing off, Paul Barroza.